Wow, I guess we won't have to wait until Wednesday to get an update, like we were actually going to see an update in this anyways, but Russia claims Ukraine's standoff is over because it was never getting started to begin with. No, they're apparently removing whatever troops or drawing down their troop presence at the border of the Ukraine where they were doing a bunch of tests or some shit like that. I don't know, man. Joe's been telling us one thing, good old Uncle Joe. He's been saying that an invasion is imminent, and then, the main players that are down there, the president of Ukraine and the president of Russia, is you had Putin and you had Zelensky over there being like, I don't know what the fuck this guy's talking about. You guys are just doing what you're doing. We're just doing what we're doing. But the senile old man from across the ocean is just saying, invasion is imminent. It's like, okay, cool. You can't just make your memes into dreams, but let's finally put a cap on this. Maybe, potentially, don't quite know. Let's just see. This is the war that never got off the ground, the coldest of cold wars. The Russian government claimed on Tuesday that several military units have completed scheduled drills alongside the border of the Ukraine and will now return to their permanent bases. So it kind of sounds like this was something that was always scheduled. And that's why Zelensky was never really put on high alert for this. Interesting. Bringing their armor and artillery with them. Russian officials taunted the Biden administration by claiming the redeployment humiliated Western war hysterics. Well, pretty much. It inflamed them, that's for true. While Ukrainian and NATO military officials said that they did not see any immediate sign of Russian forces actually pulling back from the border. It could still happen, which we're going to get to. Russia's state-run TASS news agency quoted Russian Defense Ministry spokesperson Major General Igor Konashenkov. How many people has he killed? Claimed that Russian troops were packing their gear and preparing to depart on Wednesday morning, which is probably within a couple of hours. Who knows, time change is a bitch. As combat training measures are coming to a close, the troops, as is always the case, will conduct combined marches to their permanent garrisons. Units of the southern and western military districts have accomplished their tasks, have already begun loading personnel and equipment on the railway and auto transport means will today begin heading to their military garrisons. Konashenkov stated. The Defense Ministry statement implied the withdrawal would take some time because some of the units would be marching home on foot. That would suck a bitch because it's February in Western Russia. Wow. But apparently that's part of their training. That is a fucking alpha military. Russia's Southern District military made a similar announcement on Tuesday that its troops were loading their heavily tacked armors such as tanks, infantry vehicles, and self-propelled artillery guns on trains and preparing to return to Crimea to bases in Dagestan and North Ossetania. Cool. Don't know the area. I'm sure it's nice. The units in the Southern Military District that have completed accomplishing their tasks as part of scheduled tactical exercise at combined arms practice ranges on the Crimean Peninsula have begun reducing their permanent bases. The personnel of battalion tactical groups have conducted marches on the areas of railway stations where operations to load combat equipment on special platforms has been organized, the district command stated. The Ministry of Defense said that troops and naval units are still training in the neighborhood of Ukraine and would begin a fresh round of drills on Tuesday. Oh my God, that's where that's why this is going to happen. That's why, even though Russia said that everybody's going home on schedule, Biden warns a Russian attack on Ukraine is still possible, and that he urges the people just fucking pay attention to this floundering old fuck. Biden addressed reporters and the nation on Tuesday. Really, I wasn't paying attention. To explain the situation on the ground in Ukraine, somebody's got to, at least from your perspective, because God knows the truth doesn't really tell you that there is a situation on the ground. It just kind of seems like regular scheduled military procedures. The steps the U.S. is willing to take in any potential conflict between Ukraine and Russia, it's not happening. It's not happening. Stop trying to make it happen. Biden said diplomacy would be ongoing. Again, you can continue to talk with them. That's diplomacy. You can make phone calls all you want, but if they don't know what you're talking about and there isn't any fucking threat of an invasion going on, you can continue to just try to fan those flames. You can continue to try to be played by yourself, but at the end of the day, you're just going to be standing alone in a room with nothing but your old fucking withered dick in your hands. Sorry about that. Biden said that the best way forward for all parties is diplomacy and de-escalation. Well, how much more of a de-escalation do you want? Do you just literally want both countries to dissolve? Because it doesn't seem like there's anything above that going on. This as some military units are leaving their positions near Ukraine, Biden said, but don't believe your lying eyes. Listen to me, obviously. Don't listen to any of the reports from the, defense officials over in Russia, noting that the U.S. does not have confirmation of this action. Oh, but it can still happen at any moment. More than 150,000 Russian troops, Biden said, believe him, are on the U.S. or are on the Ukraine-Russian border. Invasion remains distinctly possible. No, it doesn't. He said, reiterating his ask for all Americans in Ukraine to leave. The U.S. Embassy has been moved to the western side of the country near the Polish border for no discernible reason. The United States and NATO are not a threat to Russia. Ukraine is not a threat to Russia. Yeah, we know. Everybody knows that. He said that an invasion would prove to be a self-inflicted wound. Are you just trying to cheer this on with reverse psychology? Okay. Trying to play Putin against himself? Sorry, dude. You don't have the mental chess pieces for that action. After stating that the West was unified by their democratic principles, he said the sanctions would be heavy and swift if Russia moves. Please move. Please move. And would be enacted by Western nations in a unified way. Again, the only people who are talking about Russia infiltration is Boris Johnson, in accordance with Biden, of course. Trudeau would be banging on the same drum, but he has his own astroturfed emergency on his hands right now, so just one at a time. The Nord Stream 2 pipeline, he said, would or will not happen if Russia invades Ukraine. That has nothing to do with you. That's between Russia and Germany, so why are you interfering in that, in those dealings? If you're so worried about natural resources, you should probably worry about cleaning up the disaster you created on your own home soil. Remember the Keystone XL pipeline? Remember drilling on federal lands? Remember all that shit that you banned? Yeah, just go ahead and work on that first. Okay. That said, the United States, he said, would not be sending troops to the Ukraine, to help Ukraine, but I thought you were deploying 3,000 forces to help out with NATO. Oh, okay. Instead, the U.S. sent arms and advice. Oh, very nice. Just a little I love you, little IOUs, a box of Valentine cards. An attack against one NATO country is an attack against us all. Oh my god, this is just getting so fucking monotonous. This is like, please pay attention to me, Daddy Putin. If Russia decides to invade, it would also have consequences here at home. The American people understand that defending democracy and liberty is never without cost. And if there's nobody to charge for it, well, fuck it. We'll just invent a bunch and we'll just keep them in lockup without a hearing for just about over a year at this point. Anyways, why is he doing all of this obscuring from the fact that he's a complete and utter failure as a president? Well, because he has nothing else to tout. Oh, I need to keep democracy safe. Well, how about any of your policies? Are those keeping democracy safe? Shut up, you're an insurrectionist. Okay. Biden's economic strategy explodes public opposition to migration. He's failing at everything, literally everything. The economy, immigration, foreign affairs. Everybody's either laughing at him or disregarding what he's doing. So I'm glad he sent over his advice. Maybe somebody will pay attention to it and think that a signature from Joe Biden might be worth something in a few years. President Biden's open door immigration policy has caused a huge 22-point shift in public opinion on preferred immigration levels, according to a Gallup poll released on Monday. Only 9% of Americans want more immigration. Who could possibly want that? While 35% want less immigration, says a Gallup poll of 811 adults. Great sample size you have there. There's a dramatic 22-point shift since the end of the end of Donald Trump's presidency on January 20th, 2021. Ugh. When 19% wanted less migration, 15% wanted more migration. Well, it looks like the 15% got exactly what they wanted. Just 1 year of the Biden border welcome. Okay, 69% of Republicans wanted immigration reduced, almost double the 40% who wanted a reduction in early January of 2021. A share of independents who wanted less immigration has jumped from 19% to 32% over the course of a year. Before Biden's inauguration, only 2% of Democrats wanted more migrants. 1 year later, 11% of Democrats said that they wanted lower migration. Jumping ahead a little bit on this as to who's actually being, ultimately affected on this. Congress seeks to import workers. We need to do it smartly in order to once again ensure that these new workers aren't competing within our existing workers for jobs, competing for wages and salaries. Our Senator Todd Young of Indiana, just right on the border, one of those border states, right? Punchbowl's Anna Palmer in a January 25th interview. Okay. This is how we build majority support for immigration reform, said Young, who's up for election this year. Yeah, no shit. Because eventually, and you guys know that Biden is also paying to fly illegal immigrants from the border. It was either from Arizona or I think it was from Texas anyways, putting them as many as he can fit on a plane and then just sending them to different places across the country. So no, it won't directly affect Indiana right now, but I'm sure it will, just given enough time. Because there's still hundreds of thousands of people crossing the border every fucking month. However, many GOP legislators tried to evade the debate on the pocketbook damage of illegal migration. And legal migration by loudly denouncing border chaos, illegal migrant crime, and drug smuggling cartels. All of those things. So far, the denunciations have not been combined into a useful or realistic pro-American platform for GOP legislation in 2023. Yeah, so they just keep on banging on about socialism, and it just falls on deaf ears. Maybe it plays well for the Fox News crowd, but both of those people were already going to be voting Republican anyways. But a Gallup poll, 22-point shift since January 2021, is another reminder that the public, including Latino voters who are actually starting to shift more Republican, or maybe they just like the orange man. We'll have to see how all of these polls play out, the exit polls at least, when it comes to the 2022 midterms. Maybe they just like Trump. Maybe they just like Trump people at the end of this. Maybe that's what most of the people were on about. They don't like Republicans per se. They like the America First, pro-American initiative, whatever you want to call it, populism. That's a nice, fun catch-all term. Are strongly oppose migration, especially labor migration. Yes, Latinos, legal immigrants into the country, strongly oppose illegal immigration. No fucking shit. And then just, a little tweet to close this one out. New poll paints a very different picture of Hispanic voters than what's often peddled in the media. 69% support Trump's tax cuts. Yeah, because contrary to the media's representation of those tax cuts, they were only helping out the 1%. Yeah, your average family income, it was the savings of $2,000 or $4,000 per year. That's what they were seeing. So literally, they had a tangible financial stake in this. And then add on to that, more job opportunities, because those tax cuts that only benefited the wealthy, those are the job creators that are out there. So if they were stuck in a shitty job to begin with, okay, they had the opportunities to move, okay, to get a promotion, to seek higher employment. Just saying. 55% support more spending on border security. Yeah, because they see the influx of illegal immigrants and they think, hey, I went through all the fucking loopholes, okay? I provide a tangible benefit to the United States of America. I like being here. You just came over because there was a fucking hole in the fence and nobody's paying attention to it. 51% support limiting refugees and asylum, same gimmick. And 49%, just about 50, support reducing illegal immigration. There it is. Been talking about it for a long time. But if you guys want to look a little bit deeper into what is being supported by Hispanic voters, one of the new keystones of the Republican Party, if they play their cards right, well, kind of seems like they got woken up to this stuff. Not woke in, that sense, but in the proper sense of things. Yeah. Long and short of it, Biden's a colossal failure. He's pushing more people to the right. We'll see if they're smart enough to capitalize on this. But with that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.